There's a reason you keep getting, and it's not what you think. It's not people. It's not disrespect. It's not even the situation. It's something much deeper, something happening inside your mind that you've never questioned. Right now, someone out there can control your emotions with just a few words. They can ruin your mood, change your energy, and take your peace without even trying. And the worst part is, you think that's normal. But Buddhism has been warning about this for thousands of years. The truth is simple, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The moment you stop reacting, you become untouchable. In this video, you're going to discover 7 powerful Buddhist lessons that will completely change how you deal with people forever. 1. Your reaction is the real problem. You've been taught something your whole life, and it sounds true, but it's not. You've been taught that people make you angry, that their words, their behavior, their disrespect is the reason you lose control. But if that were true, then everyone would react the same way to the same situation. Think about it carefully. 2 people get insulted. One laughs it off. The other burns with anger for hours. Maybe days, same words, same moment, but completely different experience. So what actually caused the anger? Not the person, not the situation. It was the reaction. And this is where Buddhism completely shifts your understanding. The Buddha didn't teach that the world is the problem. He taught that your interpretation of the world is the problem. When something happens, there is a gap, a very small, almost invisible gap. First, there is the event. Then there is your reaction. And in between those two, your mind creates a story. That story happens so fast, you don't even notice it. Someone ignores you. Instantly, your mind says, they don't respect me. They think I'm not important. I'm being disrespected. And just like that, a simple moment turns into emotional pain. But here's the truth most people never realize. Nothing actually happened except your interpretation. The event itself was neutral. It had no meaning until you gave it one. And once you give it meaning, your body reacts as if that meaning is real. Your heart rate increases. Your thoughts become aggressive. Your mood shifts. And now you believe that the other person caused this. But they didn't. They triggered something that already existed inside you. They exposed your expectations, your insecurities, your need for control. This is why 2 people can live in the same world, but experience completely different realities. Because reality is not just what happens. It's how your mind processes what happens. Buddhism calls this attachment. You are attached to being respected, attached to being understood, attached to being treated a certain way. And the moment reality doesn't match your expectation, you react. Not because the situation is unbearable, but because your mind refuses to accept it. Now here's the uncomfortable part. As long as you believe people are the problem, you will never be free, because people will always be unpredictable. They will say things you don't like. They will act in ways you don't expect. They will test your patience again and again. And if your peace depends on their behavior, then your peace is fragile. But the moment you see the truth, everything changes. You realize, I am not reacting because of them. I am reacting because of what's happening inside me. And suddenly, you have power. Because if the reaction is coming from you, it means you can change it. You can observe it. You can pause it. You can let it pass without acting on it. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you stop being controlled. You stop giving people the ability to disturb your inner state with a single word. And this is the first step toward real freedom. Not controlling others, not avoiding situations, but mastering your own mind. Because the truth is simple and it's powerful. The problem was never people. The problem was the reaction you never questioned. 2, everything is temporary. So why react? There is one truth that, if you truly understand it, will instantly weaken your anger, not control it, not suppress it, weaken it. That truth is this: nothing lasts. In Buddhism, this is called impermanence. Everything you experience, every emotion, every situation, every moment is temporary. But your mind doesn't behave that way. Your mind reacts as if everything is permanent. Someone disrespects you, and your mind treats it like a lasting wound. You replay it. You think about it again and again. You carry it into your next hour, your next day, sometimes your next week. But pause for a second. Ask yourself honestly, will this moment matter tomorrow? Will this exact feeling, this exact anger, still exist in a few hours? The answer is always the same. No, because emotions don't last. They rise and they fall like waves. But here's where most people make a mistake. They don't let the wave pass. They hold on to it. They feed it with thoughts. They keep the story alive. They remind themselves again and again what happened. And because of that, a moment that should have lasted seconds turns into suffering that lasts days. This is not because the situation was powerful. It's because the mind refused to let go. Buddhism teaches something very simple. If you don't hold on to an emotion, it cannot stay. Try to observe your anger next time it appears. Don't react. Don't speak. Don't act on it. Just watch it. You'll notice something strange. It starts strong, then slowly it begins to fade. Without your attention, without your thoughts feeding it, it loses its power because emotions need fuel, and that fuel is your focus. The more you think about what happened, the stronger the emotion becomes. The more you replay it, the longer it stays. But if you stop feeding it, it disappears on its own. This is why reacting is so dangerous. The moment you react, you are saying to your mind, "This matters. Keep it alive," and your mind obeys. It keeps bringing it back. It keeps reminding you. It keeps you stuck. But when you don't react, you send a different message. This is not important. And slowly, the mind lets go. Now understand this deeply. The situation is temporary. The emotion is temporary, but your reaction can make it feel permanent. That's the trap. You suffer not because something happened, but because you keep it alive inside you. And once you see this, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing every emotion. You stop believing every feeling needs a response. You begin to ask, why am I holding on to something that is already passing? And in that question, you find space between you and your anger, space between you and your reaction. And in that space, you gain control because now you understand. You don't have to react to everything you feel. You can let it pass. And the moment you truly learn to let things pass, your mind becomes lighter, quieter, free, because you are no longer fighting every moment. You are simply allowing it to come and go. 3. Your ego wants to react. Most of the time, you don't react because of the situation. You react because something inside you feels attacked, and that something is your ego. Ego is the voice in your mind that says, "This is who I am. This is how people should treat me. This is what I deserve." It builds an identity, a version of yourself that you believe is real, fixed, important, and always right. So when someone challenges that identity, your ego feels threatened, not physically, but psychologically. And that threat creates a reaction. Someone corrects you, and instantly you feel defensive. Someone ignores you, and suddenly you feel disrespected. Someone disagrees with you, and now you feel the need to prove them wrong. But look closely. What are you actually protecting? Is it truth, or is it your image of yourself? Buddhism teaches something very uncomfortable, but very liberating. The self you are trying to defend is not as solid as you think. It's built from memories, from labels, from past experiences. It changes over time, and yet you treat it like something that must be protected at all costs. That's why small things feel so big, because your ego turns them into personal attacks. A simple comment becomes disrespect. A small mistake becomes embarrassment. A disagreement becomes threat. And once it becomes personal, reaction becomes automatic. But here's the shift. What if you stop taking things personally? Not by forcing yourself, but by understanding this. Not everything is about you. People act based on their own emotions, their own stress, their own mindset. Someone is rude, not because of you, but because that's their state. Someone ignores you, not because you are unimportant, but because their attention is elsewhere. But your ego doesn't see that. It pulls everything toward you. It makes everything about you, and that's why it suffers. Because now, every situation becomes a threat. Every moment becomes something to defend. But when you begin to loosen your grip on ego, something powerful happens. You stop needing to win every interaction. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop needing others to validate you. And without that need, reactions begin to disappear. Because now there is nothing to defend. You can hear criticism without breaking. You can face disrespect without reacting. You can walk away without feeling small. Not because you are weak, but because you are no longer controlled by ego. This doesn't mean you lose your identity. It means your identity stops controlling you. You become flexible, calm, untouchable, because your peace is no longer dependent on how others see you. And that is real strength. Not reacting, not proving, not defending, just being stable, quiet, in control. Because the truth is simple. The ego reacts, but awareness stays still. And the moment you choose awareness over ego, you take back control of your mind. 4. Awareness breaks the reaction cycle. Most people believe they are in control of their reactions, but if you observe closely, you'll see something different. Someone says something, and before you even think, you react. The words come out instantly. The emotion takes over instantly. The behavior happens instantly. There is no pause, no awareness, no choice, just reaction. This is not control. This is conditioning. It's a pattern your mind has repeated so many times that it now runs automatically. Trigger, emotion, reaction, over and over again. Buddhism calls this unconscious living. You are not choosing your response, you are repeating it. But here's where everything can change. Not by forcing yourself to stay calm, not by suppressing anger, but by becoming aware. Awareness is simple, but it is powerful. It means you begin to notice what is happening inside you as it is happening, not after you react, but in the exact moment the reaction starts. Next time someone triggers you, watch carefully. Before the reaction, there is a sensation, a tightening in your chest, a heat rising in your body, a sudden rush of thoughts. That is the beginning. That is the moment most people miss because it happens fast and because they are not paying attention. But if you catch that moment, everything changes because now there is space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, you are no longer automatic. You are aware. And awareness gives you a choice. You can still react, but now it's a decision, not a habit. Or you can pause. You can stay silent. You can let the emotion rise and fall without acting on it. This is the practice, not stopping emotions, but stopping the automatic reaction to them. At first, it will feel difficult. Your mind will push you to react. It will say something, defend yourself, don't stay quiet. But if you stay aware, if you just observe without acting, you will notice something powerful. The emotion begins to weaken. It loses its intensity because you are no longer feeding it. You are not adding words. You are not adding thoughts. You are not turning it into action. You are just watching. And when you watch, you separate yourself from it. You begin to see, this is anger, but it is not me. This is frustration, but I don't have to become it. And in that realization, you gain control, not by force, but by clarity. Over time, this awareness becomes stronger. The gap becomes wider. The reaction becomes weaker until one day, something that used to trigger you deeply barely touches you, not because the world changed, but because you are no longer unconscious. You are present, and presence breaks the cycle. Because the truth is simple. You don't need to control every situation. You just need to become aware of your reaction to it. And once you are aware, you are free to choose differently. 5. Let go of control over others. There is a hidden reason why you react to people more than you should. It's not just emotion. It's not just habit. It's control. A deep, silent expectation inside you that people should behave the way you want them to. They should respect you. They should understand you. They should respond the right way. They should treat you fairly. And when they don't, something inside you resists. That resistance becomes frustration. That frustration becomes anger. That anger becomes reaction. But pause for a moment and look at reality. Have people ever behaved exactly the way you wanted all the time? No. They misunderstand you. They ignore you. They disappoint you. They act based on their own moods, their own thoughts, their own problems. And yet, Your mind keeps expecting control. It keeps saying, they shouldn't have done that. They should have acted differently. This is not how it's supposed to be. But who decided how it's supposed to be? Your expectations did. Buddhism teaches something that most people resist. You cannot control people, not their thoughts, not their behavior, not their attitude. And the more you try, the more you suffer, because every time reality doesn't match your expectation, you feel disturbed. You react. Not because the situation is unbearable, but because it didn't go your way. This is the trap. You are not reacting to people. You are reacting to your loss of control over them. Now here is the shift that changes everything. What if you stopped expecting people to behave a certain way? What if you truly accepted this? People will act according to their nature, not mine. Suddenly, things start to feel different. When someone is rude, you're not shocked. When someone ignores you, you're not hurt in the same way. When someone disappoints you, you don't collapse emotionally. Why? Because you were not trying to control them in the first place. You were simply observing them. And when you observe instead of control, reactions begin to disappear. This doesn't mean you allow everything. It doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you respond with clarity, not emotion. There is a difference. Reaction is emotional. Response is conscious. Reaction says, this shouldn't be happening. Response says, this is happening. Now what is the best way to deal with it? And that question changes everything, because now you are not fighting reality. You are working with it. You are no longer emotionally attached to how people should behave. You are grounded in how they actually behave. And that makes you stable, calm, unshaken, because your peace is no longer dependent on others acting the way you want. You stop trying to fix people. You stop trying to control outcomes. You stop exhausting your mind over things you cannot change. And something powerful happens. You get your energy back. Your mind becomes quieter because you are no longer arguing with reality in your head. You are simply accepting it and choosing your response wisely. This is not weakness. This is control at a higher level. Control over yourself, not over others. And that is the only control that actually exists, because the truth is simple. The more you try to control people, the more they control your emotions. But the moment you let go of that control, you become free. Free from expectations, free from constant frustration, free from unnecessary reactions. And in that freedom, you find peace that no one can disturb. 6. Silence is a form of power. There is a moment right before you react. It's small, almost invisible, but it's always there. A split second where you feel the urge to reply, to defend yourself, to prove your point, to say something back. And most people don't even notice that moment. They move straight from feeling to reacting instantly, because in their mind, reacting feels like strength. It feels like control. It feels like if I don't say something, I'm weak. If I don't respond, I'm losing. If I stay quiet, they win. But Buddhism turns this belief upside down. It teaches something that most people struggle to accept. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Think about it. Anyone can react. Anyone can get angry. Anyone can argue. Anyone can raise their voice and try to dominate a moment. That doesn't require mastery. That requires impulse. Real strength is something else entirely. Real strength is feeling everything and still choosing not to react. Real strength is having the ability to respond, but deciding that it's not worth your peace. Real strength is standing in front of chaos and remaining still inside, because silence is not empty. Silence is full of awareness. When you choose silence, you are not doing nothing. You are observing. You are understanding. You are staying in control of your inner state, and that changes everything. Because the moment you stop reacting, you stop giving people power over you. Understand this clearly. Every reaction you give is a signal that says, this affects me, this controls me, this has power over my emotions. And people notice that. Even if they don't say it, they feel it. They see where you get triggered. They see what disturbs you. They see how easy it is to pull you into emotional chaos. But when you don't react, you become unpredictable, unreachable, untouchable, because now There is no easy way to control you, and that is where real power begins. Not the power to dominate others, but the power to remain undisturbed by them. Now, this doesn't mean you stay silent in every situation. That's not what Buddhism teaches. It doesn't teach suppression. It teaches awareness. There is a difference between silent control and silent weakness. Silent weakness is when you stay quiet, but inside, you are boiling. Your mind is full of anger. Your thoughts are racing. You are holding everything in, but suffering deeply. That is not peace. That is repression. But silent control is different. Silent control is when you truly let go of the need to react, when you don't feel the urge to prove anything, when you don't feel the need to respond to every word, when you don't carry the situation inside you after it's over. You are quiet, not because you have to be, but because you don't need to be anything else. And that kind of silence is powerful because it comes from understanding. You understand that not every situation deserves your energy. You understand that reacting doesn't solve most problems. You understand that your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. And once you see that, you stop wasting yourself on things that don't matter. Now think about your past. How many times did reacting actually help you? How many times did it improve the situation? Most of the time, it made things worse. It created more tension, more misunderstanding, more regret. You said things you didn't mean. You acted in ways you later questioned. You carried emotions longer than necessary. And all of that started with a reaction, a moment you didn't control. But now imagine something different. Imagine someone tries to provoke you and you stay calm, not forced calm, real calm. You listen without reacting. You observe without judging. You remain present without getting pulled in. What happens? The situation loses intensity because reaction feeds energy, and without your reaction, there is nothing to feed. Silence absorbs the moment. It dissolves it, and suddenly, something that could have turned into conflict just fades away. This is why silence is powerful, because it interrupts the cycle. No reaction, no escalation, no emotional chaos, just stillness. And in that stillness, you remain in control. Now here is the deeper truth. When you are truly strong, you don't need to show it. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to respond to everything that challenges you, because your strength is internal. It doesn't depend on others seeing it. It doesn't depend on others agreeing with you. It simply exists quietly. And this is what Buddhism calls inner stability, a state where your mind is not easily shaken, where your emotions don't control your actions, where your peace is not fragile. And that state is built through moments of silence. Moments where you could react but don't. Moments where you could argue but choose not to. Moments where you could lose control but remain steady instead. Each of those moments strengthens you, not on the outside, but on the inside. And over time, something changes. Things that used to trigger you don't affect you anymore. Situations that used to disturb you feel insignificant. People who used to control your emotions lose that power completely. Not because they changed, but because you did, because you stopped giving your reactions freely. You became selective, intentional, aware, and in that awareness, you found something most people never do: peace that cannot be taken away. Because the truth is simple and it's final. Anyone can speak, anyone can react, but very few can stay silent and remain completely in control. And that is real power. 7. True freedom is inner peace. There is something most people never question. They spend their entire lives chasing control over situations, control over people, control over outcomes, believing that one day, when everything finally goes their way, they will feel at peace. But that day never comes, because the world doesn't work like that. People remain unpredictable. Situations remain uncertain. Life continues to move in ways you cannot control. And as long as your peace depends on things outside you, you will always feel disturbed. This is why Buddhism points to something deeper. It doesn't teach you how to control the world. It teaches you how to stop being controlled by it. Because real freedom is not when everything is perfect. Real freedom is when nothing has the power to disturb your mind. Think about that carefully. If one person's words can ruin your mood, you are not free. If one situation can steal your peace, you are not free. If your emotions rise and fall based on what others do, you are not free. You are reacting. You are depending. You are being controlled. And most people live like this without realizing it. They believe they are thinking, but they are only reacting. They believe they are choosing, but they are only following their emotions. They believe they are in control, but they are controlled by everything around them. This is the illusion, and breaking this illusion is where true freedom begins. Buddhism teaches that suffering does not come from life itself. It comes from attachment. Attachment to how things should be. Attachment to how people should treat you. Attachment to outcomes, respect, validation, control. And the moment those attachments are disturbed, you suffer, you react, you lose your peace. But what happens when you begin to let go? Not forcefully, not by pretending, but by understanding that nothing outside you is stable enough to hold your peace. You begin to detach, not from life, but from your dependence on it. You still live, you still interact, you still feel, but you are no longer controlled by every small change. Now something powerful happens. Your peace becomes internal. It is no longer based on what people say. It is no longer based on how situations unfold. It is no longer based on whether things go your way. It comes from within, and because of that, it becomes stable, unshaken, independent. This is what it means to be free, not free from problems, but free from being disturbed by them. Now understand this clearly. Inner peace is not the absence of emotion. It is the absence of emotional control over you. You can still feel anger, but it doesn't take over. You can still feel frustration, but it doesn't control your actions. You can still experience difficult moments, but they don't define your state, because there is a deeper stability inside you, a space that remains untouched no matter what happens outside. And that space is where freedom lives. But reaching that space requires something most people avoid: letting go. Letting go of the need to react, letting go of the need to win, letting go of the need to be right, letting go of the need to control everything around you. Because every time you hold on to these things, you give away your peace. You tie your emotions to something unstable, and when that thing changes, you suffer. But when you let go, you untie yourself. You become lighter, clearer, free. Now imagine living like this. Someone criticizes you, and instead of reacting, you observe. Someone disrespects you, and instead of getting angry, you remain steady. Something goes wrong, and instead of collapsing, you adjust calmly, not because you don't care, but because you are no longer controlled. This is not indifference. This is mastery. You are fully present, but not attached. You are aware, but not disturbed. You are engaged, but not reactive. And in that state, life feels different, lighter, simpler, more peaceful, because you are no longer fighting every moment. You are allowing it. You are moving with it instead of against it. And that changes everything. Now here is the final truth. The world will not become easier. People will not suddenly become perfect. Situations will not always go your way, but none of that needs to disturb you, because your peace is no longer out there. It is here, inside you, unshaken by noise, unbroken by words, unaffected by chaos. And once you reach that state, you realize something most people never do. Freedom was never about controlling life. It was about mastering your mind, because the moment your mind is no longer controlled, you are free completely, and nothing and no one can take that away from you. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Don't react immediately. Just watch what happens inside you. Watch the emotion rise. Watch the urge to respond. And for the first time, don't follow it. Because in that moment, you're not just staying calm. You're breaking a pattern that has controlled you for years. And the more you practice this, the less power people have over you, until one day, nothing shakes you anymore. Not because the world changed, but because you did. If this message stayed with you, don't just forget it. Practice it, because this is not just knowledge. This is a skill that can change your entire life.